A night at Le Jardins. Sarah adjusted her crisp black apron as she stepped into Le Jardins, the upscale restaurant that glittered with the wealth and privilege of the city's elite. The ambience was a delicate blend of soft murmurs and the gentle clinking of fine china, punctuated by the occasional laughter of well-dressed patrons. Each evening, she donned her uniform with pride. But tonight, as she surveyed the polished floors and the glistening crystal chandeliers, she felt the weight of another world pressing against her. In this restaurant, Sarah moved like a dancer among the tables, her demeanor calm and graceful. She had always approached her job with the utmost professionalism, but her heart was anchored elsewhere. When the restaurant buzzed with activity, men in tailored suits and women adorned in exquisite jewelry, it reminded her of the contrast between the two lives she led. In her spare time, she volunteered for the Red Cross, rushing to disaster zones and offering aid to those who had lost everything. The thought of that work brought a soft smile to her lips, even amidst the clamor of the restaurant. "Table 12 needs fresh water," a coworker whispered as he hurried past her. Sarah nodded, her focus unwavering as she moved between tables, refilling glasses and answering questions about the menu with patience and warmth. She loved the service industry. It allowed her to meet a wide variety of people. Yet, sometimes, it was hard to ignore the stark differences in their lives. As she arranged fresh flowers on a corner table, Sarah overheard snippets of conversation that seemed worlds away from her own reality. Discussions about stock markets, luxury vacations, and the latest fashion trends. But she treated each guest with equal respect, her humble nature shining through with every interaction. The restaurant manager, a stern-faced man with a penchant for perfection, approached her with a serious expression. "Sarah, we have a VIP coming in soon," he said. "I need you to handle their table personally." She nodded, accepting the responsibility without hesitation. The trust the manager placed in her was a badge of honor, a recognition of her reliability and calm demeanor under pressure. As the evening unfolded, Sarah moved efficiently through her tasks, her mind occasionally drifting to her upcoming volunteer shift. She knew she would trade this formal uniform for a simple Red Cross vest soon, ready to face whatever challenges came her way. But for now, she was here, surrounded by elegance and wealth, doing her best to make each guest's experience memorable. Just then, the restaurant doors swung open, ushering in a gust of cool air and the unmistakable aura of privilege. Veronica Hastings, the epitome of high society, sauntered in with her entourage of equally affluent friends. Their laughter, tinged with an air of superiority, cut through the refined ambience of Le Jardin like a knife. The maitre d' rushed to greet them, bowing slightly. "Miss Hastings, what a pleasure. Your usual table is ready." Veronica waved her perfectly manicured hand dismissively, as though the staff were merely there to cater to her whims. "We expect nothing but the best tonight. Make sure of it," she commanded. Having just been informed of her new assignment, Sarah took a deep breath and approached the table, plastering on a warm smile, determined to provide excellent service despite the group's notorious reputation for being difficult. "Good evening, ladies. Welcome to Le Jardins. My name is Sarah, and I'll be taking care of you tonight," she said, her voice steady and professional. Veronica's eyes raked over Sarah, her smirk growing wider as she took in the sight of Sarah's uniform. "Oh, how quaint," she drawled. "Tell me, dear, do they make all the help wear those dreadful shoes? Or is that a personal choice?" Sarah's cheeks burned with humiliation, but she maintained her composure. "These are part of our uniform, ma'am. May I start you off with some water, or perhaps our signature cocktails?" One of Veronica's friends, her voice dripping with false sweetness, chimed in, "Water, darling. Do we look like we drink tap water? Bring us your finest champagne, if you even know what that is." Laughter erupted from the table, sharp and cruel. Sarah nodded, jotting down the order. As she turned to leave, another comment reached her ears. "Can you believe they let someone like her serve us? I mean, really, where do they find these people?" Sarah's hand tightened on her notepad, But she kept walking, her head held high. Years of facing challenges as a Red Cross volunteer had prepared her for moments like this. She reminded herself that this was nothing compared to the real struggles in life. Returning with the champagne, Sarah remained professional, pouring the drink with steady hands. "I assure you, ma'am, I'm here to ensure you have a wonderful dining experience. Now, may I tell you about our specials this evening?" As Sarah moved gracefully around the table, refilling champagne flutes and taking orders, the women's conversation grew louder and more malicious, their words sharp as knives. "I bet she lives in some dingy little apartment," one of Veronica's friends snickered loud enough for Sarah to hear. "Probably shares it with 5 other waitresses." The sting of their comments hit Sarah like a physical blow, but she reminded herself to keep her cool. Years of dealing with emergencies had taught her to remain calm under pressure. She took a deep breath and focused on her tasks, reminding herself that this job, though demanding, was temporary. As the night wore on, Sarah found herself at the kitchen door, preparing the next course. She paused to collect her thoughts, feeling the weight of the women's words press against her. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. "You are stronger than their cruelty." Maria, one of the line cooks, noticed Sarah's unease and stepped closer. "You okay, honey?" Maria asked, her kind eyes searching Sarah's face. "Those women out there, they're not being nice, are they?" Sarah tried to smile, but it came out more like a grimace. "It's nothing I can't handle," she replied softly. Yet her voice quivered slightly, betraying her hurt. Maria shook her head, a mixture of anger and sympathy on her face. "Don't you let them get to you, Sarah. You're worth 10 of them put together." At Maria's words, Sarah felt a lump form in her throat. She swallowed hard, trying to keep her emotions in check. Maria continued, her voice warm and encouraging. "I heard about what you did last month, how you spent your whole weekend helping at that shelter after the big storm. Not many people would give up their time like that." Surprised, Sarah blinked. She hadn't realized anyone at work knew about her volunteer activities. "That's the real you, Sarah," Maria said firmly. "Not what those stuck-up women out there see. You're making a real difference in people's lives. Don't ever forget that." As Maria's words sunk in, Sarah felt warmth spread through her chest. She stood a little straighter, squaring her shoulders. "Thank you, Maria," she said softly, a genuine smile breaking through her earlier facade. "I needed to hear that." Maria gave her shoulder a gentle squeeze. "Anytime, honey. Now go show those women what real class looks like." With renewed strength, Sarah smoothed down her apron and lifted her chin. She may have been just a waitress to Veronica and her friends, but she knew the truth about herself, and that was all that mattered. As she stepped back onto the restaurant floor, Sarah felt a shift in her demeanor. The bustling dining room seemed to quiet for a moment as she took a deep breath, centering herself. With graceful steps, she approached Veronica's table once more. "Ladies, are you ready for your main course?" Sarah asked, her voice calm and professional. Veronica looked up, her eyes narrowing. "Well, look who's back. We thought you'd run off crying." Sarah didn't flinch. Instead, she smiled politely. "I apologize for any delay. What can I get for you?" As Sarah took their orders, the women continued their barrage of snide comments, nitpicking every detail from the menu descriptions to Sarah's penmanship. "I hope you can read your own writing," Veronica sneered. "We wouldn't want our orders mixed up because the help can't write properly." A flicker of anger stirred within Sarah, but she pushed it down. "I assure you everything will be correct," she said softly. As the evening wore on, Sarah moved between tables with quiet efficiency, refilling water glasses, clearing plates, and answering questions with unwavering patience. But Veronica and her friends grew louder and more demanding, making ridiculous requests and sending dishes back for imaginary flaws. "Hey, waitress," Veronica called out, snapping her fingers. "We need more bread over here, and make it snappy." Sarah nodded, hurrying to fulfill their request. But as she placed the bread basket on their table, one of Veronica's friends deliberately knocked over her glass, spilling red wine across the pristine white tablecloth. "Oh, clumsy me," the woman said with a smirk. "You'd better clean that up before it stains." Sarah bit her lip, fighting back tears as she quickly mopped up the spill. The women's laughter rang in her ears, but she kept her head down, focused on her task. The night dragged on, and Veronica's behavior became increasingly obnoxious. She critiqued the restaurant's atmosphere, complained about the temperature, and made loud disparaging remarks about other diners. Through it all, Sarah maintained her composure, moving through the dining room with quiet grace, determined to not let the cruelty of one table ruin her evening. Finally, as dessert arrived, Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. This was the final course. Soon, they would leave, and she could breathe again. She approached the table, carrying the carefully plated desserts, her heart racing, as she prepared to serve them. "Here we are, ladies, a selection of our finest desserts for you to enjoy," she said, placing the plates down gently. But Veronica merely scoffed. "You call that a dessert? How quaint. It looks like a child's birthday cake." Sarah's heart sank at the sting of those words, but she refused to let it show. "I assure you, ma'am, our chef has put a lot of thought into these creations. I hope you enjoy them," she replied, forcing a smile. Veronica rolled her eyes, clearly unimpressed. "You know, if you were actually good at your job, you'd know that dessert is supposed to be indulgent, not a sugar-free experiment." It was the final straw. Sarah felt her composure cracking as the laughter from the table grew louder, drowning out the rest of the restaurant. But as she glanced around, she noticed other diners watching, some with sympathetic expressions. The humiliation burned in her cheeks, and she fought against the tide of emotions threatening to overwhelm her. Taking a deep breath, Sarah found her voice. "If you'd like, I can recommend something else. Perhaps a different dessert." Veronica waved her hand dismissively, her eyes glinting with malice. "What we'd really like is a real server. You're clearly not up to this task." Sarah met her gaze, her heart pounding, but she wouldn't let Veronica's cruelty win. "I'm here to provide the best service I can," she said, her voice steady. "If you have concerns, I'd be happy to discuss them with the manager." Veronica's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Sarah felt a rush of fear. But then she thought of Maria's words, of the people she had helped during her volunteer work, and the strength she had found in those moments. "Go ahead and bring him over," Veronica spat, her tone dripping with disdain. "I'm sure he'll want to hear about how pathetic your service is." Taking a deep breath, Sarah nodded. "I'll be right back." As she walked away, she could feel the weight of their gazes on her, but she focused on her path, determined to reclaim her dignity. In the kitchen, she sought out the manager and explained the situation, her voice calm and collected. "Sarah, I appreciate your professionalism," the manager said, his expression serious. "But you shouldn't have to endure that kind of treatment. I'll handle it." He walked towards Veronica's table, and Sarah could barely make out their conversation over the hum of the restaurant. The manager stood tall, his presence commanding as he addressed the women. She didn't catch all the words, but she could see his expression, firm yet respectful. The laughter at the table dimmed as he spoke, and a few minutes later, he returned to Sarah with a reassuring nod. "You handled that well. They won't be causing any more trouble." Relief washed over her, and a sense of pride swelled in her chest. She was more than just a waitress in this moment. She was a resilient individual who refused to be pushed around. As the night finally drew to a close, Sarah cleaned up the tables with renewed vigor. She felt lighter somehow, as though the weight of Veronica's disdain had been lifted. By the time she clocked out, the moon hung high in the night sky, casting a silver glow over the bustling city streets. With each step away from the restaurant, Sarah felt a sense of liberation. She had faced adversity and emerged stronger, ready to embrace the work that truly mattered. As she walked towards her home, she could already feel the excitement of her next volunteer shift bubbling within her. The privilege of serving others was where she truly found her purpose, and she knew she would never let anyone diminish that light within her. The challenge of compassion. The streets hummed softly beneath Sarah's feet as she made her way home, the city lights flickering like stars caught in a web of concrete and steel. Each step felt lighter, and the bite of Veronica's words faded into the night air, replaced by a deep sense of satisfaction. She had stood her ground, proving to herself that her worth transcended the confines of her job. As she entered her modest apartment, the familiar scent of her favorite lavender candle greeted her. Lighting it became a nightly ritual. It was a small comfort amidst the chaos of life. She took a moment to savor the warm glow as the flame danced, casting flickering shadows across the walls, before slipping out of her shoes and allowing the stress of the day to melt away. After a quick shower, Sarah made herself a simple dinner of pasta and fresh vegetables. While the water boiled, she pulled out her phone, scrolling through notifications from the Red Cross. There were new volunteer opportunities available: community health fairs, disaster response training, and support services for families displaced by the recent floods. Her heart quickened at the thought of helping others, the very essence of what she valued most. Over dinner, she pondered which opportunity to pursue. The thought of joining the team at the health fair ignited a fire within her. It would be a chance to engage directly with those in need, to provide information and support, but also to remind herself of the struggles that lay beyond the glimmer of wealth she encountered at Le Jardins. With a renewed sense of purpose, she signed up for the event. As she finished her meal, Sarah reflected on her work at the restaurant. Each day, she served countless guests, each with their own stories, lives, and struggles, even if they were often obscured by privilege. It was easy for people to forget the humanity behind those who served them. They saw her uniform, but they didn't see her heart, her dreams, or her devotion to making a difference in the world. That night, sleep came quickly, dreams woven with images of her work, the faces of those she had helped, and the laughter of children playing in the park where she volunteered. In her dreams, she was not just a waitress. She was a hero, a beacon of hope in a world filled with shadows. The health fair. The following Saturday dawned bright and clear, and Sarah arrived at the community health fair with an infectious energy. The venue was filled with booths, each offering resources ranging from health screenings to nutrition advice. The smell of fresh produce mingled with the sounds of laughter and chatter, creating an atmosphere of camaraderie. Sarah donned her Red Cross vest, feeling a swell of pride as she mingled with fellow volunteers. "Hey, Sarah," a familiar voice called out. It was Mark, a fellow volunteer who had been with the Red Cross for several years. His easy smile and approachable demeanor made him a favorite among the team. Ready to change some lives today? She grinned back at him, her heart racing with excitement. "Absolutely. Where do you want me?" Mark guided her to a booth dedicated to providing health screenings. "We need someone to help guide people through the process and explain the importance of regular checkups," he said. "Your communication skills will really shine here." With a nod, Sarah settled into her role, welcoming visitors with warmth and genuine interest. As people approached, she asked them about their health history and encouraged them to participate in screenings. Each interaction was an opportunity to connect, to understand, and to empower. One of the first visitors was an elderly woman named Mrs. Patterson, her eyes sparkling with life despite her frail appearance. "I've been avoiding the doctor," she confessed, her voice wavering slightly. "I'm scared of what they might say." "Mrs. Patterson, I completely understand," Sarah replied, her tone soothing. "But regular checkups can help catch things early. You deserve to know what's happening with your health, don't you?" The woman nodded slowly, her eyes softening. "You're right, dear. I guess I just needed a little push." Encouraged, Sarah gently guided her through the screening process. With each person she helped, Sarah felt her spirit lifted, the purpose behind her efforts shining brightly. As the day progressed, she encountered a wide array of people, families, young couples, and individuals, each with unique stories etched on their faces. One couple, Michael and Laura, shared their journey of navigating chronic illness. They spoke of their struggles with insurance and the weight of medical debt that loomed over their lives. "It's like we're drowning," Laura admitted, her voice quavering. "We just want to live without this constant fear." "I can't imagine how hard that must be," Sarah said, her heart aching for them. "But you're here, seeking help, and that takes courage. Remember, you're not alone in this. The Red Cross has resources that might help alleviate some of that stress." As the day wore on, Sarah felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her, and the challenges of the past week began to fade into the background. Here, in this space filled with compassion and camaraderie, she was reminded of the profound impact of kindness and understanding. But the fair wasn't without its challenges. During a lull in visitors, Sarah overheard a discussion at a nearby booth where a group of attendees were criticizing the Red Cross and its effectiveness. "They're just a bunch of amateurs," one man scoffed. "How can they really help anyone?" Sarah's heart sank. It was easy for people to dismiss the organization without understanding the effort and dedication that volunteers poured into their work. Gathering her courage, she stepped closer, ready to defend the cause she believed in. "If I may," Sarah interjected, her voice steady but respectful. "The Red Cross is composed of individuals who genuinely care about making a difference. We all volunteer our time to provide support and resources to those in need, especially during difficult times." The group fell silent, surprised by her sudden presence. "Oh, really? And how has that worked out for you?" the man challenged, his expression skeptical. Sarah took a breath, determined to share her perspective. "Just last month, we helped families who lost everything in the floods. We provided them with essentials like food, clothing, and shelter. Every effort counts, no matter how small." The atmosphere shifted as Sarah spoke. The skepticism in the room softened slightly, replaced by curiosity. "But how do you even manage?" another woman asked, her tone less confrontational now. "It's not easy, but we work as a team," Sarah explained, her passion igniting as she spoke. "Each of us brings something different to the table, and together, we make a real impact." The conversation continued, and gradually, the group began to ask questions about the organization and its initiatives. With each answer, Sarah could sense the walls of doubt crumbling, replaced by a burgeoning appreciation for the work being done. As the fair began to wind down, Sarah felt a sense of pride swell within her. She had faced criticism head-on and turned it into an opportunity for connection and education. Reflections. That evening, as she returned home, the weight of the day settled in her bones, but it was a comforting exhaustion, one that came from having made a difference. As she prepared for bed, she couldn't shake the feeling of empowerment that had enveloped her throughout the day. With her mind still buzzing, she picked up her journal, a cherished companion that held her thoughts and dreams. Flipping to a fresh page, she began to write. The ink flowed as she recounted her experiences at the fair, capturing the essence of each interaction, the joy of connection, and the importance of compassion. The words poured out as she detailed Mrs. Patterson's courage, Michael and Laura's resilience, and the skeptical group that had turned into a dialogue of understanding. Each encounter reminded her why she had chosen this path, to bridge the gap between people, to remind them of their shared humanity. As she penned her thoughts, she felt a surge of clarity. This was her calling, more than just a job at Le Jardins. It was the work she did with the Red Cross that truly ignited her spirit and showcased the strength of the human connection. With a sense of fulfillment, she set down her pen, her heart brimming with hope. It was a reminder that, though the world could often seem divided by wealth and privilege, compassion had the power to unite. The following day brought new opportunities at the restaurant, but Sarah approached it with a different mindset. She knew she had a purpose beyond serving tables. She was a part of something greater, a tapestry woven with kindness and resilience. In the days that followed, she carried the lessons from the health fair with her, using her interactions at Le Jardins to uplift others, even amidst the snobbery of patrons like Veronica. She found joy in each connection, reminding herself that every moment was an opportunity to make someone's day a little brighter. One evening, as she approached the infamous table of Veronica Hastings, she felt a surge of confidence. Veronica had returned, surrounded by her entourage, and as Sarah approached, she recalled the humiliation of their previous encounter. But this time, she wouldn't let it affect her. "Good evening, ladies," Sarah greeted, her voice calm and steady. "Welcome back to Le Jardins. Can I start you off with some drinks?" Veronica glanced up, her expression a mixture of surprise and annoyance. "Oh, it's you again," she remarked, her tone dripping with condescension. "How quaint that you've come back for more punishment." This time, Sarah didn't flinch. "I'm here to ensure you have a wonderful experience," she replied, a genuine smile gracing her lips. "We have some amazing specials tonight. May I recommend our new wine selection?" As she spoke, she noticed the flicker of surprise in Veronica's eyes. Perhaps it was the confidence in her voice or the warmth radiating from her demeanor, but something had shifted. Sarah understood now that she had the power to define her own narrative, regardless of how others perceived her. "Fine," Veronica said, her voice slightly less biting. "Let's see what you've got." As Sarah walked away to prepare the drinks, she couldn't help but feel a sense of triumph. With each interaction, she was rewriting her story, transforming a challenging encounter into a moment of empowerment. The night continued, and while Veronica's group remained aloof, Sarah focused on providing the best service possible. She took pride in every table she served, every guest she engaged, and every moment she spent connecting with those who appreciated her efforts. As she clocked out that evening, the city was alive with the energy of nightlife. Sarah walked through the streets, the crisp air filling her lungs, feeling renewed. She had faced adversity, transformed it, and emerged stronger. In her heart, she carried the experiences of the health fair and the lessons learned from her interactions at the restaurant. Each moment was a reminder of her purpose, a purpose driven by compassion, resilience, and the unwavering belief in the power of kindness. And as she returned home, she looked forward to the next opportunity to serve, whether it be at the restaurant or within the community. In her world, every encounter was a chance to shine a light on humanity, and she was ready to embrace it all, one connection at a time. The ripple effect. Sarah awoke the following morning with the sun streaming through her bedroom window, casting a golden hue over her modest apartment. The invigorating scent of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, promising a day filled with potential. She stretched, allowing the warmth of the morning to seep into her bones, invigorating her spirit. Today would be different. She could feel it in her gut. After breakfast, Sarah sat down at her desk to plan her week. The Red Cross had sent out an email about an upcoming community outreach initiative aimed at educating families about health and nutrition. Excitement coursed through her as she envisioned herself leading workshops, guiding families toward healthier choices, and fostering an environment of support and camaraderie. She had always believed that knowledge was power, and here was a chance to share that belief with others. As she jotted down her ideas, the phone buzzed beside her. It was Mark, the fellow volunteer from the health fair. "Hey Sarah, just wanted to check in. Are you ready for the community outreach project? We could use your spark." Her heart raced at the enthusiasm in his message. "Absolutely. I've got a few ideas I'd love to share," she replied, her fingers flying over the screen. "Great. Let's meet up at the coffee shop later this afternoon to brainstorm. I'm excited to see what you've come up with." Sarah felt a surge of warmth at Mark's encouragement. Meeting him felt less like work and more like an opportunity to collaborate with someone who shared her passion. The rest of the day passed in a blur of anticipation, the promise of a new project sparking her creativity and enthusiasm. The coffee shop. Later that afternoon, Sarah found herself at their favorite coffee shop, a quaint little spot filled with mismatched furniture and the comforting hum of conversation. As she entered, the rich aroma of coffee enveloped her, instantly easing her nerves. She spotted Mark sitting at a corner table, his laptop open, and notes scattered around him. "Hey there. I've got some ideas brewing." He greeted her with a broad smile as she approached. "Me too. I was thinking we could focus on easy, affordable recipes that families can make together. Cooking can be such a bonding experience, and it's a great way to teach kids about nutrition," Sarah said, her excitement bubbling over. Mark nodded enthusiastically. "That's perfect. We can create a fun, interactive workshop where families can prepare meals together. And maybe we could include some gardening tips. Growing your own vegetables is such a rewarding experience and can help families save money." As they brainstormed, the conversation flowed effortlessly, ideas bouncing back and forth like a lively tennis match. They sketched out a plan, outlining the structure of the workshops, the types of meals to prepare, and how to incorporate activities for the kids. Each idea sparked new ones, and Sarah felt herself getting lost in the creative energy of their collaboration. The workshop. Weeks passed, and soon the day of the first workshop arrived. The community center buzzed with excitement as families gathered, their chatter filling the air with warmth and anticipation. Sarah stood at the front of the room, her heart racing, as she looked out at the smiling faces of children and their parents. "Welcome, everyone. We're thrilled to have you here today," she began, her voice steady and confident. "Today, we're going to cook together, learn about healthy eating, and hopefully have a lot of fun." As they divided into groups and began preparing their meals, Sarah moved from table to table, offering guidance and encouragement. She loved seeing families working together, laughter echoing in the room as children mixed ingredients and parents shared stories. It was everything she had envisioned. At one table, a mother and her son struggled to chop vegetables. "It's okay. You can do it together," Sarah encouraged them, kneeling down to their level. "How about you both take turns? Teamwork makes the dream work." The boy's face lit up with excitement as he took a turn at the cutting board. "I did it, Mom. Look," he exclaimed, holding up a perfectly chopped carrot. "Great job." Sarah cheered, her heart swelling with joy. It was moments like these that reminded her why she had chosen this path, to create connections and foster a sense of community. The impact. As the workshop progressed, Sarah felt a profound sense of fulfillment wash over her. By the time they sat down to enjoy the meals they had prepared, she could see the pride on each family's face. They had not only cooked together, but had also learned valuable skills that would carry over into their daily lives. After the meal, Sarah opened the floor for feedback. "What did you all think? How did you enjoy cooking together?" A father raised his hand, a look of gratitude on his face. "This was amazing. I never thought cooking could be so fun. We usually just grab takeout, but now I feel inspired to cook more at home." Another parent chimed in. "The recipes were easy to follow, and my kids loved getting involved. Thank you for organizing this." As the families began to leave, several of them approached Sarah, expressing their appreciation for the workshop. "You really made a difference today," one mother said, her eyes shining with gratitude. "We'll definitely be trying these recipes at home." As she packed up, Sarah couldn't help but smile. The sense of connection and community she had always longed for was blossoming before her eyes. Each workshop was not just about teaching healthy habits. It was about weaving the fabric of a supportive network, one family at a time. The letter. A few days later, as Sarah sat down to write her next journal entry, she received an unexpected letter in the mail. It was from Mrs. Patterson, the elderly woman she had helped at the health fair. Intrigued, she tore open the envelope, her heart fluttering with anticipation. "Dear Sarah, I hope this letter finds you well. I wanted to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude for the support you provided during the health fair. You may not realize the impact you made on my life. Your words of encouragement pushed me to schedule an appointment with my doctor, and I am happy to report that everything is fine. Thank you for being a light in my life. Your kindness reminded me that there is still goodness in the world, and I am inspired to give back to others as you have done for me. With love and gratitude, Mrs. Patterson." Tears pricked at the corners of Sarah's eyes as she read the letter. It was a beautiful reminder of the ripple effect of compassion. One act of kindness could inspire others to do the same. It reaffirmed her belief that she was on the right path. The shift. As the weeks turned into months, Sarah found herself more involved with the Red Cross, organizing events, volunteering at local shelters, and forging connections within her community. Each experience enriched her understanding of humanity and deepened her commitment to serving others. But amid her growing dedication, challenges persisted at Le Jardins. Veronica Hastings returned frequently, and while Sarah felt empowered, the encounter with Veronica was still tinged with discomfort. One particularly busy Friday night, Sarah approached Veronica's table, her heart pounding. "Good evening, ladies. Can I start you off with something to drink?" Veronica looked up, her expression unimpressed. "We'll take your finest wine and make it quick. And don't mess it up this time," she added, her tone sharp. As Sarah turned to walk away, a surge of frustration bubbled inside her. She had worked hard to cultivate a sense of compassion, yet here was Veronica, embodying the very opposite. Gathering her thoughts, Sarah reminded herself of her mission to uplift others, even those who tested her patience. Returning with the wine, Sarah took a deep breath. "I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the menu or need recommendations, I'm here to help," she said, her voice steady. To her surprise, Veronica paused, her icy demeanor thawing slightly. "Actually, I do have a question. What's your story? Why do you work here?" Caught off guard, Sarah met Veronica's gaze, sensing an unexpected vulnerability. "I work here to support myself while I pursue my passion for helping others through the Red Cross," she replied, her heart racing. "I believe that every moment spent serving others is a chance to make a difference, no matter how small." For a moment, the tension in the air shifted. Veronica's expression softened, revealing a flicker of curiosity. "Interesting. I didn't realize you had such aspirations. I suppose that makes this place more bearable," she said, her tone less condescending. Sarah felt a rush of triumph at that small acknowledgement. It's a journey for all of us, isn't it? Every encounter teaches us something new. As she walked away, she felt lighter, buoyed by the realization that she had taken a step towards compassion, even in the face of adversity. The celebration. Months later, the community center hosted a celebration event to honor the volunteers who had dedicated their time and efforts to various initiatives. As Sarah entered the venue, she was struck by the vibrancy of the decorations and the warmth of the atmosphere. Tables adorned with colorful tablecloths showcased photos and stories from the workshops, and laughter echoed through the room. Mark spotted her and waved, his face beaming with excitement. "Sarah, you made it. We're just about to start the award ceremony." Feeling a rush of pride, she joined him at the front of the room, where the organizer began to speak. "Tonight, we celebrate not just our accomplishments, but the spirit of community that binds us all together. Each of you has made a difference, and tonight, we honor that commitment." As the ceremony unfolded, Sarah listened intently, her heart swelling with gratitude for the opportunity to connect with others. When her name was called for recognition as a community champion, she was taken aback. As she stood up to accept the award, she felt the weight of every interaction she had experienced. The struggles, the triumphs, the connections forged through kindness. She looked out into the crowd, seeing familiar faces, including Mrs. Patterson and even Veronica, who offered a supportive nod. "Thank you so much. This award is not just for me, but for every individual who dares to make a difference in their community," Sarah said, her voice steady. "Together, we can create a ripple effect of kindness that can change lives." The applause that followed enveloped her like a warm embrace. In that moment, Sarah understood that her journey was just beginning, a journey filled with purpose, connection, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. As she left the event, a sense of peace washed over her. The world was indeed filled with challenges, but with each act of kindness, she was determined to be a force for good. Her heart brimmed with hope as she walked into the night, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, one connection at a time. The catalyst for change. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah found herself buoyed by the recognition she received at the community celebration. The Community Champion Award had ignited a fire within her, prompting her to dive deeper into her work with the Red Cross and to seek out new opportunities for impact. However, it also brought with it a sense of responsibility, a commitment to continue fostering positive change in her community. New horizons. One afternoon, as Sarah was scrolling through her emails, she stumbled upon an announcement about a grant opportunity aimed at supporting innovative health programs in underserved communities. A spark ignited within her. This could be it, she whispered to herself, heart racing with excitement. Determined to make her mark, Sarah began brainstorming ideas for a program that could address the pressing health issues faced by many families in her community. She envisioned a comprehensive initiative that combined nutrition education, physical activity, and mental well-being. With each idea that flowed from her mind to the page, she felt more invigorated. Over the next few days, Sarah poured her heart into crafting a proposal. She envisioned hosting monthly health fairs that provided free screenings, workshops on healthy cooking, exercise classes, and resources for mental health support. The program would not only educate families, but also create a supportive network where they could connect with one another. As she finalized her proposal, Sarah reached out to Mark to get his thoughts. "I'm excited to share my idea for the grant. I think we could make a real impact," she texted him. "I'm in. Let's meet up and work on this together," Mark replied, enthusiasm evident in his response. The collaboration. When they met at the coffee shop again, the energy was electric. Sarah laid out her vision, and Mark listened intently, occasionally nodding or jotting down notes. "This is brilliant. We can leverage the relationships we've built through our workshops and expand our reach," he said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. As they collaborated, their ideas evolved. They decided to include local healthcare providers, fitness experts, and mental health professionals as part of the program. Together, they could create a holistic approach to health that addressed the physical, emotional, and social well-being of families. Days turned into late nights as they worked tirelessly on the proposal, each brainstorming session more productive than the last. They drafted a budget, identified potential partners, and outlined the impact they hoped to achieve. Sarah felt a deep sense of purpose driving her, each word they wrote reinforcing her belief in the program's potential. When the day finally came to submit the proposal, Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. "This is just the beginning," she said to Mark, her voice tinged with nervous anticipation. "We've put our heart into this. No matter what happens, we're making a difference," he reassured her, placing a supportive hand on her shoulder. Waiting game. As they awaited the grant decision, Sarah continued her volunteer work with the Red Cross, pouring her energy into every project that came her way. She organized food drives, assisted with outreach efforts, and even began mentoring new volunteers. Each interaction further solidified her sense of belonging in the community and the impact of collective effort. One evening, while volunteering at a local shelter, Sarah encountered a young girl named Mia, who had been staying there with her mother. Mia was shy but curious, often peeking out from behind her mother's legs. One day, as Sarah prepared a meal for the families, Mia approached her hesitantly. "Are you a superhero?" Mia asked, her wide eyes filled with wonder. Sarah knelt down, a smile spreading across her face. "I'm not a superhero, but I like to think everyone can be a hero in their own way. It just takes kindness and courage." Mia contemplated this for a moment before nodding. "I want to be a hero too. Can you teach me how?" Touched by Mia's earnestness, Sarah replied, "Of course. How about we start by making some superhero sandwiches together?" The two spent the afternoon creating colorful sandwiches, their laughter echoing through the shelter. The grant decision. Weeks passed, and the day of the grant decision finally arrived. Sarah sat at her desk, anxiously refreshing her email. When a message from the grant committee popped up, her heart raced. She clicked it open, holding her breath as she read the words aloud. "We are pleased to inform you that your proposal has been selected for funding." Tears of joy filled Sarah's eyes as she processed the news. "We did it. We actually did it," she exclaimed, barely able to contain her excitement. Mark's response came immediately. "This is amazing. We need to celebrate and start planning right away." The launch. With the funding secured, Sarah and Mark wasted no time. They organized a launch event for their health initiative, inviting community members, healthcare providers, and local businesses. As the date approached, Sarah worked tirelessly, ensuring every detail was in place. Flyers were distributed, social media posts were created, and excitement rippled through the community. On the day of the launch, the community center was transformed into a vibrant hub of activity. Banners adorned the walls, and tables were filled with information about the program. Families arrived, their faces brimming with curiosity and enthusiasm. As Sarah stood at the front of the room, she felt a mixture of nerves and exhilaration. She welcomed everyone with a warm smile. "Thank you all for being here today. We're excited to introduce a program designed to empower our community to take charge of their health, support one another, and learn together." Mark joined her on stage, and together they shared their vision. "This initiative is about more than just health. It's about building connections and creating a network of support for our families," he said, his voice filled with passion. As the event unfolded, participants engaged in interactive booths, signing up for workshops, and chatting with local health providers. Children played in a designated area, their laughter filling the air. Sarah felt a deep sense of fulfillment as she watched families connect and engage with the resources available. The transformative experience. Over the following months, the health initiative flourished. Monthly health fairs became a staple in the community, attracting families eager to learn and participate. Sarah and Mark introduced cooking classes, fitness challenges, and mental health workshops. Each session met with enthusiasm and participation. One day, Sarah found herself standing in front of a group of parents during a cooking class, demonstrating a simple yet nutritious recipe. "Cooking is a wonderful way to bond with your family," she explained, her heart swelling with joy as she observed the parents and children working together. As they prepared a colorful vegetable stir-fry, one mother turned to Sarah with a smile. "I never knew cooking could be this fun. My kids are actually excited to help out at home now." Sarah's heart soared. That's the goal. Food is not just nourishment. It's an opportunity to connect and create memories. The success of the initiative spread throughout the community, and soon, local businesses began to join in, offering support through donations and resources. The program expanded to include wellness retreats, community gardens, and fitness classes, all fostering an environment of health and support. Unexpected challenges. However, as with any journey, challenges arose. One evening, while preparing for a community meeting, Sarah received a phone call from the local health department. They had encountered issues with funding for the community wellness programs, which threatened the sustainability of the initiative. Anxiety washed over her as she listened to the concerns. "This is going to affect everything we've built," she murmured to herself, the weight of the news settling heavily on her shoulders. Determined not to let the program falter, Sarah gathered her team to brainstorm solutions. "We need to be proactive. Let's reach out to the community for support. If we work together, we can overcome this," she urged, her passion igniting a fire within her team. As they put their heads together, ideas began to flow. They organized a fundraising event, inviting community members to participate in a fun run, bake sale, and silent auction. They also launched a social media campaign to raise awareness about the program and its benefits, encouraging families to share their experiences and testimonials. The fundraising event. On the day of the fundraising event, the atmosphere was electric. Families gathered in the park, their laughter and chatter filling the air as children played games and adults mingled. Sarah felt a wave of gratitude wash over her as she watched the community come together. "Are you ready to run for your health?" Mark shouted, rallying participants as they lined up for the fun run. The energy was palpable as runners took their marks, ready to dash toward a healthier future. Throughout the day, families browsed the bake sale, their faces lighting up at the colorful array of treats. Sarah took a moment to reflect on how far they had come. Each smile, each encouraging word, and every act of support fueled her commitment to the cause. As the day came to a close, they gathered for the silent auction, eagerly awaiting the results. Sarah stood before the crowd, her heart racing. "Thank you all for your generosity and support. Together, we are making a difference in our community." When the final numbers were tallied, the total exceeded their expectations. Cheers erupted as Sarah announced the grand total, tears of joy streaming down her face. "We did it. Because of your kindness, we can continue to provide resources and support for our families." A moment of reflection. In the weeks that followed, the initiative continued to thrive. Sarah found herself reflecting on the journey, grateful for every connection made along the way. She often revisited Mia and her mother at the shelter, helping them with cooking classes and providing support during challenging times. One afternoon, as they prepared a meal together, Mia looked up at Sarah, her voice filled with sincerity. "You really are a superhero, you know. You help people feel better and be happy." Sarah chuckled softly, her heart warmed by the innocence of the remark. "I'm just someone who believes in the power of kindness and community. We all have the ability to be heroes in our own way." As she left the shelter that day, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of fulfillment wash over her. Her journey had transformed from one of personal struggle to a collective movement of change. Each step forward was a testament to the power of community, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of hope. The path ahead. As autumn leaves began to fall, Sarah sat in her favorite park, reflecting on her journey thus far. She thought about the connections forged, the challenges faced, and the lives touched by their efforts. Yet, deep within her, she knew this was only the beginning. Inspired by the momentum of their initiative, Sarah began dreaming bigger. What if they could expand beyond the community? What if their model could inspire similar programs in neighboring areas? The possibilities danced in her mind, igniting her imagination. With a renewed sense of purpose, she decided to explore ways to share their success. She reached out to local universities, proposing to host workshops and presentations to empower other communities to replicate their model. As she shared her vision with Mark, he was instantly on board. "Let's get the word out. We can create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond what we've accomplished here." With their plans set in motion, Sarah felt invigorated by the prospect of making an even greater impact. She understood that each connection they created had the potential to spark change far and wide, and she was ready to embrace that challenge. Conclusion. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, Sarah closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey she had embarked on, the lessons learned, and the connections made along the way. In her heart, she knew that the path ahead would not be without its challenges, but she was ready to face them with resilience and an unwavering belief in the power of kindness. With every step forward, she would continue to be a champion for her community and a beacon of hope for those who dared to dream of a brighter tomorrow. With renewed determination, Sarah smiled as she gazed into the horizon, ready to embrace the future, one connection at a time. Expanding the vision. As winter approached, Sarah felt a sense of excitement coursing through her veins. The success of the health initiative had sparked not only a movement within her community, but also a deep desire to inspire other communities to take charge of their health and well-being. With newfound motivation, she dedicated herself to the task of expanding their reach. Outreach and collaboration. Sarah and Mark began by organizing a series of outreach events at local schools, community centers, and churches. They aimed to raise awareness about their program and share its benefits with families who had yet to participate. Each event was filled with energy as Sarah passionately explained the importance of health education, nutritious eating, and mental well-being. At one particular school, Sarah stood in front of a gymnasium filled with parents and children, eager to hear what she had to say. Today, we're not just talking about health, we're talking about community. Together, we can create a healthier future for our families. The excitement in the room was palpable, and Sarah felt a sense of purpose as she watched families engage, ask questions, and express their interest in the program. With each outreach event, they met individuals eager to contribute. Local businesses offered to host workshops, healthcare professionals volunteered their time to speak at events, and families began to share their stories. The momentum was building, and Sarah was invigorated by the support surrounding their cause. Building a network. As the initiative grew, Sarah realized the importance of establishing a formal network of supporters. She reached out to community leaders, healthcare providers, and local organizations to create a coalition dedicated to promoting health and wellness. They held their first meeting at the community center, where everyone gathered to brainstorm ideas for collaborative efforts. "We need to harness our collective strengths," Sarah urged, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "By working together, we can create a more significant impact and reach families who need our support the most." Mark chimed in. "Let's share resources, plan joint events, and even launch a community health fair that showcases all the services available to families." The room buzzed with ideas, and as the coalition formed, it became clear that they were on the verge of something transformative. Community members began to share their expertise, each bringing unique skills to the table. Local chefs volunteered to provide cooking demonstrations, fitness instructors offered free classes, and mental health professionals proposed workshops on stress management and resilience. The Community Health Fair. With the coalition established, Sarah and Mark set their sights on organizing a community health fair that would highlight the myriad of resources available to families. They envisioned an event filled with interactive booths, workshops, and activities designed to engage attendees and foster a sense of belonging. As the planning progressed, excitement rippled through the community. Flyers were distributed, social media campaigns were launched, and local businesses joined in to sponsor the event. Sarah found herself working late into the night, fueled by the anticipation of what was to come. On the day of the health fair, the community center was alive with energy. Families poured in, children laughing and running to various booths. Sarah stood at the entrance, her heart swelling with pride as she welcomed everyone. "Thank you all for being here today. This is a celebration of our community's commitment to health and well-being. Together, we can make a difference," she announced, her voice ringing with excitement. Throughout the day, families explored the various booths, participating in activities and gathering information. From nutrition workshops to fitness classes, each station offered valuable resources aimed at empowering families to take charge of their health. Personal stories. Amid the hustle and bustle, Sarah encountered a familiar face. Mia, the little girl from the shelter, who was now excitedly trying on a superhero cape at a booth promoting physical activity. "Look, I'm a superhero too," Mia exclaimed, twirling around. "You sure are, Mia. What superpowers do you have?" Sarah asked, kneeling to her level. "I can cook healthy food and help my mom," Mia declared proudly, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. Sarah felt a wave of emotion as she watched Mia embrace the lessons they had been sharing. The initiative was making an impact, and it was evident in the way families were engaging with one another and taking ownership of their health. As the day went on, Sarah had the opportunity to connect with many families, listening to their stories and witnessing their determination to improve their lives. One mother approached her, tears of gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you for everything you've done. This program has changed our lives. My kids are healthier and happier, and we've become closer as a family." Feeling a sense of fulfillment wash over her, Sarah replied, "It's all of us working together that makes this possible. You're the heroes in your story." New challenges. As the success of the health fair spread, so did the challenges. Sarah soon realized that the demand for their programs was growing, and they needed to adapt to meet the needs of the community. She and Mark held a strategy meeting with their coalition, brainstorming how to expand their offerings and sustain the momentum. "We need to diversify our programs to cater to different age groups and interests," Sarah suggested, her mind racing with ideas. "What if we launched a youth ambassador program to engage teenagers? They could help promote healthy habits in schools and their neighborhoods." "That's brilliant," Mark replied. "We could also create a mentorship program connecting families with community health workers who can provide personalized support." The room buzzed with energy as they discussed various ideas, determined to create a comprehensive framework that would support families at every stage of life. A new initiative. Inspired by the brainstorming session, Sarah began developing a youth ambassador program. She reached out to local high schools, inviting students to apply for the position of community health ambassadors. The response was overwhelming. Students were eager to get involved and make a difference in their community. During the first meeting of the newly formed Youth Ambassador Group, Sarah felt a wave of excitement. She stood before the diverse group of enthusiastic teens, each with unique backgrounds and experiences. "Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here. You are the future leaders of this community, and together, we can inspire others to prioritize their health and well-being." The students listened intently as Sarah outlined the program's goals: to engage their peers, promote healthy habits, and organize events that would encourage families to participate in the health initiative. Empowering the next generation. As the weeks went by, the youth ambassadors became a driving force in the community. They organized health challenges at schools, led workshops on nutrition, and created social media campaigns promoting physical activity. Sarah was amazed at their creativity and passion. One afternoon, she attended a school assembly where the youth ambassadors presented their first project, a week-long healthy living challenge. The students encouraged their peers to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into their diets, engage in physical activity, and practice mindfulness. As they showcased their plans, Sarah felt a sense of pride wash over her. These young leaders were not only promoting healthy habits, but also fostering a sense of community and support among their peers. A new perspective. As the initiative continued to grow, Sarah found herself reflecting on her journey. The challenges she had faced initially seemed daunting, but with each step forward, she had discovered her own strength and resilience. Now she was witnessing the ripple effects of that journey as families embraced healthier lifestyles and young leaders emerged to carry the torch. During a particularly introspective moment, Sarah decided to take a walk in her favorite park. The crisp autumn air filled her lungs as she strolled along the winding paths, lost in thought. She marveled at how far she had come, from feeling overwhelmed and isolated to becoming a catalyst for change in her community. It was during this walk that she encountered a familiar figure, the elderly man she had met months ago during her volunteer work at the local shelter. He was sitting on a bench, watching children play nearby. "Hello again. It's great to see you here," he greeted her with a warm smile. Sarah sat down beside him, her heart swelling with gratitude. "It's wonderful to see you too. This community has come together in ways I never imagined." The man nodded, his eyes reflecting wisdom. "You've done something remarkable, my dear. It's not just about health. It's about hope and connection. You've given people a reason to believe in themselves again." The importance of connection. His words resonated deeply with Sarah. She realized that the initiative had become more than just a health program. It was a movement that fostered connections among people. It was about sharing stories, supporting one another, and building a community that thrived on compassion and understanding. As they sat together, Sarah shared her vision for the future. "I want to inspire other communities to embrace this idea of connection. If we can help others see the power of community, we can create lasting change." The man smiled knowingly. "You have that power within you. It's the small acts of kindness that ripple outward. Never underestimate the impact you can have." A broader reach. Inspired by their conversation, Sarah began to formulate a plan to share their model beyond their community. She envisioned a series of workshops and presentations that could equip other communities with the tools and resources to launch similar initiatives. She reached out to local universities and nonprofit organizations, proposing a series of collaborative events aimed at empowering communities to take charge of their health. Each presentation would highlight the successes of their health initiative, showcasing the strategies they had implemented and the lessons learned along the way. As word spread about her efforts, interest began to build. Community leaders from neighboring towns expressed a desire to learn more, eager to replicate the model in their areas. The first workshop. Excitement filled the air as Sarah prepared for the first workshop. She stood at the front of a packed auditorium, her heart racing with anticipation. Representatives from various communities had gathered, eager to learn about the health initiative and its impact. Welcome, everyone. I'm thrilled to see so many passionate individuals here today. Together, we have the power to create healthier, more connected communities. Sarah began, her voice steady with determination. Over the next few hours, she shared the story of their journey, emphasizing the importance of collaboration, community engagement, and resilience. She provided practical strategies for implementing similar initiatives, encouraging attendees to think creatively about how they could tailor the program to meet the unique needs of their communities. As the workshop concluded, participants engaged in lively discussions, sharing their ideas and brainstorming ways to move forward. Sarah felt a sense of fulfillment as she witnessed the spark of inspiration ignite within the room. Embracing the future. As the months passed, Sarah continued to travel to different communities, sharing her vision and empowering others to take action. Each experience enriched her understanding of the challenges faced by different neighborhoods, yet it also reaffirmed the universal desire for connection and support. Sarah realized that while the initiative had begun as a local effort, it had the potential to grow into a national movement. With every workshop, she saw individuals eager to carry the torch, determined to create a healthier future for their families. As winter melted into spring, Sarah's heart brimmed with hope. She stood in her favorite park once again, this time surrounded by families enjoying the warmth of the sun and the blooming flowers. It was a reminder of how far they had come and the journey that lay ahead. In her heart, Sarah understood that the power of community was boundless. With each step forward, she would continue to be a beacon of hope, reminding others that together they could achieve greatness. The legacy of change. With renewed determination, Sarah made a commitment to herself to continue championing health and wellness, to inspire others to embrace their roles as community advocates, and to nurture the connections that made their journey worthwhile. As she gazed at the vibrant horizon, Sarah felt a profound sense of purpose. The journey was far from over, but with every connection, every act of kindness, and every shared story, they were building a legacy of change, one that would inspire generations to come. Cultivating community resilience. As spring unfolded in vibrant hues, Sarah found herself immersed in the next phase of her journey, cultivating resilience within her community. She recognized that while they had made significant strides in promoting health and wellness, true change required ongoing commitment, adaptability, and most importantly, a culture that prioritized resilience. Understanding resilience. Determined to weave the theme of resilience into their health initiatives, Sarah began by delving into the concept itself. She reached out to experts in psychology and community health, attending workshops and seminars to deepen her understanding of resilience. She learned that resilience was not merely the ability to bounce back from challenges, but also the capacity to adapt and grow in the face of adversity. Equipped with this knowledge, Sarah envisioned a series of workshops focused on teaching families how to foster resilience within themselves and their children. She understood that resilience was essential not only for overcoming personal challenges, but also for navigating the complexities of life in a rapidly changing world. Resilience workshops. With the support of her coalition, Sarah launched the first resilience workshop in the community center. She carefully curated a program that included interactive activities, discussions, and storytelling sessions, She wanted to create a safe space where families could openly share their experiences and learn from one another. On the day of the workshop, Sarah was filled with anticipation. Families arrived, eager to participate and learn. As she welcomed everyone, she emphasized the importance of sharing stories. "Our experiences shape who we are," she began. "By sharing our stories, we not only empower ourselves, but also inspire others to find their strength." The participants broke into small groups, and Sarah guided them through a series of exercises designed to explore personal resilience. They discussed their challenges, reflecting on how they had navigated tough times in the past. Sarah encouraged them to share what had helped them cope and what lessons they had learned along the way. A story of resilience. During one of the sessions, a single mother named Maria shared her story. "When I lost my job during the pandemic, I felt lost. But I found strength in my community," she said, her voice quivering with emotion. "With the support of friends and neighbors, I started a small catering business from home. It wasn't easy, but I learned to adapt and keep going." Her story resonated with many in the room, sparking conversations about the power of community support. As they listened to Maria, families began to see the importance of leaning on one another during challenging times. The workshop became a celebration of resilience, filled with laughter, tears, and moments of solidarity. Building support networks. As the workshops continued, Sarah recognized the need to formalize the support networks that were emerging within the community. She initiated a Resilience Circle program, where families could connect with one another on a regular basis, sharing their experiences and providing ongoing encouragement. The Resilience Circles met bi-weekly, fostering a sense of belonging among participants. Each meeting began with a check-in, where members could share their triumphs and struggles. Sarah noticed that as families engaged in these circles, they began to form deep bonds, lifting each other up and holding one another accountable. One evening, as she observed the circle meeting, Sarah felt a sense of fulfillment. Laughter filled the room as families exchanged stories about their week, celebrating each other's successes. It was a powerful reminder that resilience was not a solitary journey, but a shared experience. Resilience through play. Understanding the importance of play in fostering resilience, Sarah decided to incorporate playful activities into their initiatives. She organized resilience play days at local parks, inviting families to participate in games and activities that emphasized teamwork, problem-solving, and creativity. On a sunny Saturday, families gathered at the park, their laughter echoing against the backdrop of blooming flowers. Sarah set up various stations, each designed to challenge participants while encouraging them to work together. From obstacle courses to scavenger hunts, each activity aimed to build resilience through play. As families navigated the challenges, they learned valuable lessons about communication, collaboration, and adaptability. Sarah watched with delight as parents and children cheered one another on, reinforcing the idea that they were all in this together. Expanding the vision. As spring transformed into summer, Sarah's efforts began to attract attention beyond their community. Other towns reached out, eager to learn how to implement similar resilience initiatives. Inspired, Sarah decided to organize a regional conference focused on community resilience. With the help of her coalition, Sarah meticulously planned the conference, inviting experts in mental health, community development, and youth empowerment to speak. The event would showcase successful programs and strategies that had emerged from various communities, creating a platform for collaboration and shared learning. The regional conference. On the day of the conference, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Representatives from neighboring towns filled the auditorium, eager to exchange ideas and insights. Sarah took the stage, her heart racing with anticipation. Welcome, everyone. Today, we gather to explore the power of resilience in our communities. Together, we can cultivate a culture of support and empowerment that transcends boundaries. Throughout the day, speakers shared their experiences, highlighting the importance of resilience in navigating life's challenges. Attendees engaged in workshops, collaborating to brainstorm actionable steps they could take back to their communities. Sarah felt inspired as she witnessed the enthusiasm and commitment of everyone present. During a panel discussion, Sarah had the opportunity to share her journey and the impact of the resilience circles and play days. "It's about creating a culture of connection," she emphasized. "When we support one another, we empower ourselves to thrive, no matter the circumstances." A call to action. As the conference concluded, Sarah issued a call to action. "Let's take what we've learned here today and bring it back to our communities. Together, we can create networks of resilience that uplift and empower everyone." The response was overwhelming. Attendees expressed their commitment to implementing similar programs in their towns, inspired by Sarah's vision. The seeds of collaboration had been planted, and Sarah felt hopeful about the future. An unexpected visitor. As the conference wrapped up, Sarah was approached by a woman who introduced herself as Carla, a community leader from a neighboring town. "I was deeply moved by your presentation," Carla said, her eyes shining with admiration. "I believe our community needs this kind of support. How can we get started?" Sarah felt a surge of excitement. "I'd love to help. We can set up a workshop together and develop a tailored program that meets your community's needs." Over the next few months, Sarah collaborated closely with Carla and her team, sharing resources and strategies to launch their own resilience initiative. The partnership blossomed, and soon they were hosting joint events that brought together families from both communities. Embracing diversity. One of the most enriching aspects of their collaboration was the diversity of experiences and perspectives shared among families. As they gathered for resilience workshops, participants began to embrace one another's stories, fostering a deeper understanding of the challenges faced by different communities. A heartwarming response. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Local businesses expressed their enthusiasm for supporting the initiative, pledging both financial contributions and in-kind resources. Sarah felt a wave of gratitude as she left the meeting, knowing that their community's resilience would continue to grow. In the months that followed, Sarah witnessed the fruits of their labor. New programs were launched, expanding access to mental health resources, nutrition education, and youth mentorship opportunities. The community had become a thriving hub of support and empowerment. A reflective journey. As autumn leaves began to fall, Sarah took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought her to this point. She thought back to the initial seed of an idea that had blossomed into a powerful movement. The impact of their collective efforts had rippled through the community, leaving a lasting legacy of resilience. Walking through the park one crisp afternoon, Sarah noticed families playing together, children laughing, and neighbors engaging in conversation. It was a testament to the strength of their connections. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment as she absorbed the scene, a reflection of the love and support that had flourished in their community. A commitment to the future. With renewed determination, Sarah made a commitment to continue championing resilience and community health. She envisioned future initiatives that would not only strengthen their bonds, but also inspire other communities to embark on similar journeys. As she gazed at the vibrant landscape of her neighborhood, Sarah understood that this was just the beginning. The legacy of change they had created would continue to evolve, and she felt honored to be a part of it. Conclusion. The power of collective resilience. In the years to come, Sarah's journey would inspire countless individuals and communities to embrace resilience as a fundamental pillar of their lives. She knew that the power of collective resilience could create a ripple effect, shaping a brighter future for generations to come. Together, they had woven a tapestry of stories, experiences, and connections, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. With each step forward, they continued to build a legacy of hope, reminding everyone that, united, they could overcome any challenge that lay ahead. During one session, a participant named Aisha shared her experience as an immigrant mother navigating a new culture. "It's been challenging to find my place, but through this program, I've met incredible people who have supported me and my family. Together, we are learning to thrive," she said, her voice filled with emotion. Sarah realized that resilience was not just about overcoming personal hardships. It was also about creating an inclusive environment where everyone felt valued and supported. Inspired by Aisha's story, Sarah initiated a cultural resilience series that celebrated the diverse backgrounds of community members, highlighting the strength that comes from embracing differences. A celebration of culture. The first cultural resilience event took place on a warm summer evening, filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of various cuisines. Families gathered in the park, sharing stories of their heritage, cooking traditional dishes, and engaging in cultural activities. As Sarah walked through the crowd, she felt a deep sense of belonging. People were connecting, learning from one another, and celebrating their unique identities. It was a testament to the power of community and the resilience that emerged when diverse voices came together. During the event, Sarah had the opportunity to share her own story, emphasizing the importance of understanding one another's journeys. We all have challenges, but together we can build a community that thrives on support and compassion, she said, her heart swelling with pride as she looked out at the sea of smiling faces. A legacy of resilience. As summer faded into autumn, Sarah reflected on the transformative journey she had undertaken with her community. The initiative had blossomed into something greater than she had ever imagined. Families were not only adopting healthier lifestyles, but also embracing resilience as a guiding principle in their lives. Feeling inspired by their progress, Sarah began to explore ways to ensure the sustainability of their efforts. She sought funding opportunities to support ongoing resilience programs and initiatives, recognizing the importance of investing in the community's future. Seeking support, Sarah reached out to local businesses and organizations, presenting her vision for a lasting legacy of resilience. She highlighted the positive impact their initiatives had on the community and the importance of continued support. As she prepared for a presentation to potential sponsors, she felt a mix of nerves and excitement. If we can secure funding, we can expand our programs and ensure that families continue to have access to the resources they need, she thought to herself. During the presentation, Sarah spoke passionately about the successes they had achieved together. She shared stories of families whose lives had been transformed, emphasizing the ripple effect of their collective efforts. Investing in our community is an investment in the future, she concluded, her voice steady with determination.